My nerds, welcome to the official beginning of Alliance Tournament 15. The time is finally here for 4 weeks of the most epic, badass spaceship violence you have ever seen. I am joined on the desk with Rylo, Suetonia, and Nash Cadaver. I'm Apophany. I will be your host for the first 2 weekends before we head over to the Icelandic crew, headed up by CCP Antiquarian and the CCP team themselves. Guys, we have a fantastic match that we are only a few moments away from. We have Red Alliance up against the Tuskers. The Tuskers being last year's victors, absolutely dominant for the past 3 years in tournament play, always been in top 4, top 8. I mean, they just look absolutely unstoppable, winning last year with just such finesse of piloting. Then Red Alliance, extraordinary old alliance, the oldest alliance we have in the tournament this year. Not as strong a tournament history, if we're honest, but do you guys think the Red Alliance have a chance? I mean, if we talk more generally about the tournament, if you are a less experienced team, a team with less results, going up against a Tuskers, a PL, a Hydra, what do you think are the best tactics to use in that case, Rylo?
You've got two types of choices really. You can either go all in with a crazy comp that they have no idea about, or you can try your best in like a normal comp that you've practiced a lot, or maybe drop down to the losers bracket and maybe work your way through up there. So you still have a few options, but definitely not a lot, unfortunately.
Yeah. Now, we have had, Suetonia, a whole bunch of rule changes to really spice things up, mix up the tournament this year. Would you give the lovely audience a little overview of what we can expect to see in terms of the meta and what the important rule changes have been?
Okay, so the most important rule changes are that Serpentis ships are discounted this year instead of Blood Raider ships from the previous year because it's a Serpentis tournament. We've also got Tech 2 combat drones allowed, moving drones, so not sentries, but moving drones like Hammerhead 2s, for example, they're usable. Remote rep bots, they're still only Tech 1. I think the main compositions that we're going to see are going to be the Exodus shotgun comp from last year, Balgon, 4 BCs, maybe some of them faction, with like 2 bombers and 2 support and a Tech 2 logistics put in there. Very strong comp. It was a top tier comp in the previous tournament. I think we'll also see, because of the rule changes to mobile drones, we're going to see a drone spam team. We've seen them in the feeder rounds too, where you pick 2 Vexa Navy issues, 2 Ishtars, and then you fill the rest of your ranks up with Myrmidons, healers, Stratioses if you have to. We might see a lot of that, although it's very vulnerable to bans because that setup depends on a lot, I think, on the Vexa Navy issue because it only costs 9 points and it still brings those Ishtar bonus drones, as well as the Ishtar ban too, because then you kind of have to go healer or Stratios and those 2 ships aren't quite as good. And the final archetype that I think we'll see a lot of is Rapid Light Spam. Double Orpheus, double Serb, that's comp is pretty strong, especially at the killing a Logi. Even if they die, you still can almost guarantee that you kill a unique or a flagship with a comp like that. So if Red Alliance brings something like that, they might be able to threaten Tuskers, who definitely probably want to bring out a unique early on to show that they have it, to try and trick other teams into banning it. If they bring out a Rabisu early, then other teams are going to waste that ban, or not waste it, but they're going to have to worry about that ship and ban, which essentially gives them only 1 ban against their team.
So for those of you watching the Alliance Tournament who are perhaps a little newer to the show, you have the first 2 weekends here, as I mentioned. That has all been set up by Eventi, and we'll be speaking to Nash Cadaver shortly about what's been set up there. However, I should briefly go over the very basics for absolutely everyone who should be reminded. It is a 10v10 tournament. You have each alliance allowed to bring 100 points of ships in. Each hull is predefined in the rules to have a certain amount of points, and you can fill up to 100 points using up to 10 pilots. So it is generally advised to see full 10-man teams. There are very special cases where you can bring those undermanned teams, but you should be expecting to see 10v10. That's all within a special arena in Jove space on Tranquility, where that means that the teams will be actually losing real ships that they've had to buy themselves, especially the expensive flagships, which you get to fit extra fancy modules to, and they've got to stay within that 125-kilometer sphere of death where the finger of CCP Veritas will explode your ship if you go out it. We are very close to the beginning of the match, so without further ado, we go down the line for the predictions of who's going to win this match. Personally, as much as I'm rooting for Red Alliance to make my team's path through the tournament a little bit easier, I think it's probably going to be the Tuskers. Rylo?
I'm going to go with the Tuskers on this one.
Suetonia?
I'm going to go with the Tuskers on this one.
Nash?
Definitely Tuskus, easy one.
Well, let's head over to the casters.